Hello, welcome back to AATV. I'm your host, Tom Anvil Hibberd, and in today's Live Not Live, I've got two guests to talk about GNUs or airsoft replicas we would love to see hit the market. So we're going to talk about some historical ones, we're going to talk about some practical commercial ones, and we're going to talk about some ones that we would like just for us. Okay, so the premise of today's episode is to talk about airsoft replicas or riffs or GNUs that we would like to see on the market. So we're going to do a bit of a round robin, and we're going to go through and have a bit of a discussion about the replicas we would like to see made. We've got three kind of broad categories, and I'm sure there'll be some wild cards that come up as well. If we can all remember what we actually decided to talk about, I'm sure it'll all work out.
I want to see a genuine, correct traded L129 GBBR.
There you go. Okay, so an L129, that's not the L119 that we've been banging on about on this channel for a while. What is it, Mark?
It's the sharpshooter rifle for the British Army in 7.62.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, 7.62 to 51, semi-automatic, for the infantry squad ability to engage targets with accurate fire up to 800 meters.
So it's brought in mid-Afghanistan on a what's the term, Ben? Do you know?
UOR, urgent operational requirement, which is what L85 spec is, the UOR spec.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So like that A2 Afghan spec wasn't actually an official thing. Yeah. It was stuff they bolted on.
Kind of. So the DD rail was response to the UOR, and the ACOG stuff was all responses to UOR. Hence why they then got rid of the ACOG very quickly and went to the LCAM or the LDS.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and the sharpshooter was a response to Overmatch in Afghanistan. Overmatch being British forces and NATO forces in general actually were being engaged by insurgents or whatever you want to call them, or natives of the country that we're invading, by weapons that could shoot further and harder than the kind of the squad weapon that the guys were actually using. So an L85A2, I don't really come top of my head, accurate to about 300-400 and suppressing fire out to 5 or 6, which isn't seems like a lot, but when you're being fired at by PKMs and SVDs and even Lee Enfields and Mosins from 800 or 1,000 meters away, is a bit of an issue. And it was fairly rapid, wasn't it?
The L192A1, yeah.
I mean, the procurement was pretty quick.
So it's effectively an AR-10. It's just a 7.62 AR. So it's going back to the original AR design, which was 7.62. But this was like the L119A2. It's a monolithic upper receiver. I'm not entirely sure if it's proper AR in terms of gas.
It's direct impingement. It's an LMT, LMT monolithic upper with a proper AR. It's basically an SR25.
Yeah,
it's got an SR25. It's actually got a CAC SR25 lower with an LMT monolithic upper, and it's
more often used as a sniper support weapon now in two-man crews.
Yes,
it's a really cool gun.
It is a really cool gun, which is why I want one.
and you're also going to need the 6-power ACOG to go with it, because no one makes one of those either.
Yes, 6048.
Yes, it'd be really nice to see the 6 times ACOG. DMR builds.
I mean, it wouldn't be cheap. Wouldn't be cheap. It wouldn't be cheap at all. But
GBI probably looking at $1,100, something like that.
Yeah. It wouldn't be cheap at all
for a really nice one, machined properly. Yeah.
Yes, because I was trying to figure out if you could do a conversion, kind of like the Angry Gun L119A2 rail. Do that, but for the L129, and the hard part is finding a SR25 or AR10 variant that has the right type of upper receiver, because obviously they're all slightly different, and the lowest machine tool one is quite almost hexagonal in shape.
Yeah, it's got a relatively quick change barrel nut on it as well, so for caliber conversions.
Yeah.
Would you have a kind of an idea about who you would like to make it? I mean, obviously ASG the license, it doesn't have to be license built. Is there a kind of gas blowback rifle system you would like to see being using?
To have all the correct markings on it, it really need to be licensed, wouldn't it?
You'd have.
Yeah. So
but we're in fantasy land, so it's really.
Well,
I'd like Lewis Machine Tool to make it.
Yeah, Lewis Machine Tool do make it.
Yeah.
Just take the upper.
No, but, yeah, they just take their real rifle, pull out the gas
Pull out the
gas.
Put it straight on.
But-
VFC are making an SR25 at the moment, so they've got the guts.
Yeah, I'm about to say you'd want one of the big boys in the GBBR world to make it, wouldn't you? Somebody who knows what they're doing internally.
I have in my hands an M240,
Ooh.
which is the Americanized version of the FN Mag. This one is in a bit of a poorly state because it's been used many a game days at Gunman's various sites. But what we don't have is the British version of this, the GPMG.
Right. What do we think about that, Mark?
I'd run one.
I mean, who wouldn't?
I mean, we're all British here, so obviously it's going to be a popular choice.
I'd run two.
I'm picking up on a trend here. So Mark's choice was a British rifle. My choice was a British support.
You know what
gun.
I know what mine's going to be.
Yeah, about that.
So I think absolutely. I think it's fairly glaring omission. I mean, it's a big gun, isn't it? It's a big, heavy gun. The peel's going to be limited, but
yeah, it wouldn't be too much to do because realistically, it'd be changing the barrel handle, changing the flash hider, removing the top rail. So that's one less thing to do. Adding the side block and putting the right sort of trades on it. And then there are a couple of other little bits and pieces, but the main body is mostly similar. It's certainly not beyond the realms of possibility. And
no.
I think if there's enough interest in the M240, there surely would be enough interest in the GPMG.
Well, yeah.
Well, historical airsoft is getting more popular worldwide, really, at the moment. So, and it's only, it's going to spark stuff from that. Absolutely.
It's not even historical. GPMG.
Yes, still in service. Well, it's even come back. We just talked about Overmatch and the L129. They've just put the L7 back into. The L7 is the British designation for the GPMG or the FN Mag. They've just put the L7 back into squad level, section level. It's gone back into section level now.
Yeah. I mean,
because of Overmatch.
They're a good system. They're actually internally based on the bar, Browning automatic rifle. It's basically an upside down bar that has a belt feed neck.
Upside down bar and a feed off the MG42 or something along those lines.
Yeah, that's basically it. And it's a really, really good.
It's my kind of gun. Made from parts of other guns.
another Browning success story, really, as well, when it comes down to it.
Absolutely. And what I'd really love to see though is a version that doesn't need a box mag.
There's enough space in that receiver to fit in something.
Yeah, absolutely. The receiver's big. Gearbox is not that big. In fact,
the gearbox is basically 249 gearbox, isn't it?
Yeah, there's nothing too special about the gearbox size.
So there's masses of space in the receiver to take a.
Actually, isn't that like a P90 gearbox?
Yeah, kinda. I think it's a custom design job with a stuff.
It's smaller than a 249 gearbox. It's only dinky.
So there's tons of room. Tons of room to have a.
And in fact, VSC have done it with their Mark 47, the 7.62 version of the Mini, the Maxi.
Maxi-Me, yeah, that's got an internal reservoir, isn't it?
Yeah. What I'd really love to see though is a somehow BB feed tube built into a belt, so you can have a belt that goes over your shoulder, and then have a mag like him on the back. So it looks like you're firing a belt, but feeding from somewhere else. That would be cool.
So who would you like? I mean, obviously, if anyone could make one, and it wasn't just a kind of a retweak of the one you've got, because is that real weight and steel, or is it airsoft materials?
I can wield that one-handed just about. Like you wouldn't be able to do that with the proper.
All right. So would you like a real weight one, or a?
I would. It's an interesting one because I would love a real weight one for it being realistic. But then again, if a lot of people, that would exclude a lot of people from using a GPMG.
Well, people moaned about the TM Mark 46 for being too heavy, and that was about 2/3 of the weight of the real one.
Yeah,
You'd almost
love,
want two versions to be made, wouldn't you? You'd want a lightweight and then a spec weight and size and everything one made to be made.
Interestingly, that'll be coming up with my choice.
Oh,
interesting. Yeah, I don't actually know who I would entrust to make it.
I mean, the Marui Mark 46 is amazing. Having used one, whether they would ever think about it, but you know, again, Fantasyland commercially, yeah, the sensible thing is to get that one rebranded or rebadged up as a British GPMG.
GPMG. And then if they could add a fat recoil kit to it, that'd be. I think the only time I think HPA is kind of acceptable is if it's like a heavy machine gun or a medium machine gun.
Oh, the Daytona kits the Daytona machine gun kits are brilliant.
Because you can get Daytona kits for the M240s, and I'm kind of tempted. I'm trying to convince gunmen to buy one to put in that body, so we can have. I
think as a sight gun, that was probably worth doing. Actually, I mean, they've got the whole air pressure, but as a fun thing to have as a prop and a game objective and everything else, I think that'd be a really good idea.
It would be cool.
Yes.
And they sound awesome, which is also like.
Oh, of course.
And at that point, it doesn't matter how well it shoots. It's mounted on a vehicle, it's mounted on a position, and it sounds like you've got a bloody machine gun going.
Yeah, all you want is it clattering away, don't you? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Is to make backsides pucker and heads duck.
Yeah.
I think that's a very sound choice. So my choice for a commercially viable replica that I would like would be a gas blow black L1A1 SLR. So the old British self-loading rifle before we went to the L85 and God's bang stick. So guys, what do you think about that choice?
Real wood stock.
Well, what I'm thinking about, VFC are making a Ben's just frozen in sheer delight. VFC are making a FOW. Actually, they're making kind of one of the prototypes at the moment in gas blowback. So the reason this will be commercially successful, and I'm sure they're probably going to do it anyway. I'm just going to give them another nudge. And the reason I talked about materials earlier is VFC are doing two versions of their FOW. They're doing a light version and a steel version.
Oh.
Because they realise that 4.5 kilos of steel is probably a bit heavy for a lot of players. Whereas for a big burly bloke like me, it's probably a bit too heavy as well because I'm old. But it's not really. It's not.
I was about to say, to anybody who runs L85s constantly, a 4.5 kilo FOW isn't too heavy.
Well, that's one of the hilarious things about the AATV project, is they ended up with the gun a 5.56 bullpup, which weighed more than the 7.62 battle rifle that went before it.
Yep.
Yeah. Design engineers getting it all wrong.
So there are some AEG versions of the L1A1. They're generally quite hard to find, and there's issues with them. And I want a properly machined steel weighty boy, not an airsoft alloy.
Yeah, this is the thing. So I don't think the Ares is machined steel. The King Arms version has a lot of machine parts on it, but the body is not steel, which means that I can run it with a suit sight on and not be super tired by the end of the day. But it would be really nice to have that full heavyweight, heavy recoil battle rifle.
Oh, it will kick like mad. The other thing about the VFC will generally externally make stuff to real spec, Mark. So it will take all the FAOs. It will take all the real stuff, including top covers and dust covers and flash hiders and stocks and everything else.
All the Gucci bits.
All the Gucci bits. Probably not the flash hider though, because they'll be on probably 14 mil counterclockwise.
I don't know. Maybe not. But it'll have a steel flash hider that's probably not worth changing unless you're a madman anyway.
Yes, this is the thing. So actually, fair enough to it. Both the King Arms and the Ares have got their flash hiders correct, because the bayonets that I make for them fit on both King Arms, Ares, and someone tested it on their DIAC. All fits fine. So they got that right.
So Ben, tell us about that very quickly, because I know probably received a few orders recently.
As you can see behind me, there is a bayonet on there. This is one of the ones that failed QC, but I'm making and printing airsoft safe SLR bayonets and L85 bayonets as well, which is
I got one of those.
fun because you want one, do you? Oh, this one.
Not one of yours, but I've got one.
So that's my choice. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I just really would like it to happen sooner rather than later, so I can have one this year.
I think mine will eventually happen as well, because what it is.
Someone will make one at some point.
Yes. Yeah.
And
the only issue is the law. It definitely. I sat down and went through it, and you have to change out like every part of it. I think the only thing you probably reuse is the barrel.
Yeah, the guys at VFC are proper nerds, and a lot of it's CNC. And if it's CNC, if it's going to be CNC, it wasn't CNC back in the day, but it's CNC now. So the cost isn't really massive in changing. It's a bit more CAD time.
Yeah,
so we're probably going to have it. Right. So we've had a L1A1 GBBR. We've had a L7 GPMG, AAG or HPA, and we've had a GBB L129. Let's move on to our next category, which is going to be historical